here in Montreal, more of us spending time out of doors, and almost all public toilets are closed. And at least one epidemiologist is stepping up to say that is a mistake. It's a public health mistake. And it's Dr. Raywat Deonandan. He's an epidemiologist and associate professor at the Faculty of Health Sciences at the University of Ottawa. Dr. Deonandan, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you very much. Tell us your view on this.
Well, the concern obviously is that bathrooms are a potential transmission modality for this disease, COVID-19. That's true, it might be. But there's also a big risk in not providing public bathroom facilities for a large proportion of urban populations, particularly the homeless. And we don't want to exacerbate one public health crisis by encouraging another one to start anew. So globally, there is a crisis in insufficiency of public bathroom facilities for a number of people. It is actually a global crisis. We don't have it that bad in North America or in the West, but it is pretty bad in urban centers. So we don't want to encourage people to be openly defecating. We want to encourage dignity amongst the indigent and for those people who don't have their own personal facilities. So for many people, public bathrooms are the only place they can have dignity, personal hygiene, and even just use the toilet. So I think we have to, at a municipal level, keep a few of them open and really take steps to make sure they're hygienic and well-maintained for everyone's safety.
So to be clear, it's a mistake to close them all, you think?
To close them all, yeah. I think closing some is reasonable, but some have to be open because a proportion of the population depends on them. So it is our responsibility to make sure that they're serviced and open.
Well, why do you think it is that we struggle so much with the coronavirus and balancing risk? Because public toilets do perform such an important public health role in society.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and part of it is the inability for us to actually quantify risk at the scientific level, and then to translate that risk to both individual and populations. I've been saying for a while that this disease poses small individual risk. The risk is real, but it's small to us as individuals. It's when it's scaled up to the population level that it starts to have an impact. So we don't want to foment panic, and part of the medical messaging has been around the personal crisis of I might become infected, I might get sick, whereas we have to view this from a community perspective. I don't want to affect others. At the same time, I want to keep others safe, even if it means things like having public facilities to prevent further public health crises. So it's a messaging problem, and it's a risk perception problem that we all struggle with.
Because isn't it reasonable to assume that most people will approach public toilets with extreme care in the current context and be using them in absolute necessity?
I think most people should approach public toilets with extreme care regardless. And one of the nice things, if there is a nice thing about this pandemic, is that it's opened our eyes to a number of things we can and should have fixed a long time ago, including making sure public bathrooms are clean. For example, every public bathroom should have a lid on the toilet. When you have these high-powered flushing mechanisms that can aerosolize a lot of stuff in the bowl, we call that the toilet plume. We don't want that floating around in the air. So there should be lids all the time. There should be frequent hand washing all the time. There should be the opportunity for using paper towels rather than blow dryers for your hands. And there should be spacing in the bathrooms as well. So I see this as an encouragement and incentivization for upping our hygiene game when it comes to public facilities, and also a better appreciation for how important these things are in our lives, because we're probably feeling their absence right now. If you do go out for a walk or take your kids somewhere, you're going to need a toilet at some point, and suddenly you can't access it, and you realize, I was taking this service for granted all the time. So let's use this opportunity to improve our facilities, not to diminish them.
I feel like I can't leave you without asking you about my current hobby horse, which is public water fountains. It doesn't really make sense to have all of them closed down.
That's an interesting one. I don't think it does make sense because it's possible to use them cleanly and safely. Use a bottle rather than your mouth, or maybe make that the requirement, and then it's perfectly safe. Those ones that you can fill up a reusable bottle rather than putting your mouth over a thing, that's fine. Dr.
Deonandan, thank you very much for speaking to us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All the best. Raywat Deonandan, who is Associate Professor and Epidemiologist at the University of Ottawa.